Hey guys, good morning. So it's what is today? Thursday, October 8th, I believe. I've been doing my videos for a long time, kind of the same way, but a few people have told me they're having a hard time hearing me. If you're having that problem, please let me know so I can figure out what I can do. I'm trying to talk a little louder today. But I wanted to share a few cool things with you guys, if I could, and then ask a favor of you. So, um, one of the cool things, um, one of my dear friends, not journey friends, but friends and neighbors, Miss Pat, and her husband suffers from an infirmity. Doesn't get around real well, so sometimes I head over and help out. But um, 2 nights ago, she asked me to come on over and help out if I could. And what I was helping with was getting an electric motorized wheelchair into the back of her minivan. And the reason being is she was donating it to a young 17-year-old that didn't have the funds or the means to be able to get that. So again, we talk about the kind gestures of folks and things, and I think it's important for us to kind of share them when we can. So kudos to Miss Pat for doing that. And this is just the kind of thing that you love to hear, and we don't hear enough about. We hear so much negativity. In fact, I even got yelled at for talking about negativity on here the other day, right, Miss Prisco? Anyway, so and for Thelma, I hope you can hear me. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder if I can. But before I give you some updates of myself, and before I do talk about some kind of negativity in the news, I want to share with you something that I thought I'm excited about. What I'm excited about, and I didn't anticipate this or have anything in mind when this happened, was how the point of thumb message was going to continue. What do I got this my shirt hanging out for? What I mean by that is I knew I would continue to have the point of thumb message spread when I could, but being back home, I didn't know necessarily how much I was going to do that. For example, I just mentioned dear friend Doreen, who she's like, Jim, man, the thing I love the most is when you're talking to strangers and just talking to them. So don't get away from that if you can. And it's a little bit harder when you're not just walking aimlessly into a town you don't know and you're around your common area. But last night, I met, for the second time now in a week, I've met somebody that I had never met before, and I met as a result of the journey. And again, this story has never been about me, but it's been about the people I meet along the way and their stories. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about last night, what was so special to me. So I met Jeff Salzman last night. Now I had never met Jeff before the journey per se. And we were talking. We got together and had a little something to eat. And I said, how did you come to know about me? And at first, he said, I think it was from the newspaper article in town. And Jeff had started following me, and in fact, we're not along the journey. He wanted to support me so much that he actually got me a hotel room. So much love, and that's kind of what this journey was about, was people I had never met reaching out and just kind of saying, hey, I believe in what you're doing, and keep doing it, and let me assist if I can, so to speak. So that's the humanity aspect of it. But then as we were talking further, it dawned on Jeff where I met him, and this is probably one of the coolest stories of the journey, in my opinion. Before I'm doing the book, and in fact I'm doing this. This is a very long chapter where I'm doing the build up, the pre start of the journey, right? And one of the things I did was I had gotten myself some cheap business cards made, very very simple business cards. If you've seen my other ones, they're a little bit certainly a lot more detailed, a lot more info, and those were created by Jerry Smith, another journey friend who I hadn't met before the journey. Anyway, I was in a convenience store here in central Pennsylvania called Rutter's, and I had these cards in my pocket and just sitting there in line. Apparently Jeff was a gentleman in line, and I said, hey, I'm doing something kind of crazy, and if you could follow me, I really appreciate it. And I gave him my card, and I gave the girl behind the counter my card, and that was it. You never know what's going to come of it. But it turns out about a month later, I think Jeff saw the article in the paper when I was leaving, and he's like, I think I met that guy, and he always had the card in his back pocket in his wallet, and his thought was, I knew if it was there at some point I'd have to take it out to turn it over. Um, so, uh, Jeff had reached out to me throughout the journey and was very supportive. And again, if you've heard my videos, you know that one of probably the biggest eye opener to me was this male on male bonding kind of thing that went on. This male on male reaching. I didn't anticipate it, and it's happened time and again. And like I said, just think about that for a minute. So here's me with the kind of goofy idea and a story. We're playing. Reaches out to some complete stranger in a convenience store online and says, "Hey, if you can you follow me?" And it turns out he did. And not only did he follow me though, but his words to me last night meant the world to me. And he basically said, "Look, man, I got to tell you, you really inspired me." And he shared a little bit about his own point in the thumb message, and we talked a little bit. And one of the things that was really neat about Jeff, Jeff is a biker in terms of a motorcycle guy. He loves his Harley, but he calls himself a geek inside. And we started talking about that. And he's a gadget guy, he's electronics, and he grew up with that. And we were talking about the history of video games. So for the young ones out there, you guys have some high-end, high-resolution video games to play, and if you're my age or Jeff's age, you've lived through that, Pong to Atari to Television and ColecoVision, and we're talking about all these old games, and it was just really neat to go down that road. So I mean, again, for me, I sent a picture out of him and I last night, but here's a gentleman I never knew before. I met in the convenience store, and now, we're friends. And will continue to be. I hadn't met him. I never would have met him. And to hear the words that he shared with me was so wonderful. I mean, it made me realize that even though the walking, I guess I had said along the journey that the walking was going to stop, but the journey was going to continue. But I really didn't quite know sure how that was going to happen. But this is how it's happened. I'm staying in touch with these folks. To those of you I haven't reached out to yet, I apologize. I will. I've got a lot going on. I'll teach you that in a minute. But here's a guy that I had never met before, and hand a card out in a convenience store, and I got somebody that's a friend. This gentleman believes in me so much, as some of you have know or have heard. I'm writing a book. I've got a lot of things going on, and I'm excited. One of those things is going for a job interview tomorrow, which I know people care and ask how I'm doing with that, and how I'm doing with Bill since I've been back. So tomorrow's a pretty big, exciting day for me. And I'm leaving here, as soon as I'm done with this video, I have an appointment with a printer that goes towards the book, and part of our future is Point the Thumb. So to get some marketing material together and things like that. So we're going. But Jeff believes so much in me that I had reached out to, if I said it before, I apologize, but I reached out to a core group of people that had been integral and instrumental in helping me survive this journey, putting me up, carrying the message, reaching out on my behalf. And I'd extended them and said, hey, if you'd like to be a part of the future of Point the Thumb, from a business aspect or a financial aspect, let me know. Well, Jeff was one of those people that inquired and asked about it, and he believes in me enough that he wants to be a part of it, and I can't tell you how flattering that is. I mean, here's a perfect stranger that has only seen me on video and in person. Now he's met me in person, but has only seen me on video and knows I'm a local like he is, but it thinks enough of me to want to kind of, for lack of a better term, invest in me and the message, and not so much me, but the message and how, but it'll be me carrying that message. So really flattering, really great night. And then the other part of it that was great for me was I brought somebody along with me, and again, I love to study people and just sit back. I don't want it to be about me. And as it turns out, Jeff grew up, in the same town essentially as this person, and they sat there and they talked for half an hour, reliving when this business was there, and my dad had a place over here, and that's where he worked, and my mom had a place there, and I knew Bobby G and Mary C and all these people, again, so now not only was it just me interacting and engaging with people, it was two other strangers that had never met that had come together because of the journey. And that's happened on a few occasions. The biggest one for me, when you hear about it, if you haven't heard, one of my probably the most memorable day for me on the journey occurred in a town called Van Wert, Indiana. No, that's a lie. It's Van Wert, Ohio. And in Van Wert, Ohio, I met several people that have become really special to me and integral to me. Uh, and but through that, those people have become friends. So here again, this is what I think life is about. This is what I think about being open and friendly and kind, showing others humanity. This is how this spirals. There used to be an old commercial back in the day. I think it was a hair care commercial. And they told two people, and they told two people, and they told two people, and next thing you know, you feel these. Why can't that happen? Why can't the point of thumb message start? And then we tell two people, and this is how we're going to continue to grow the message. So, we just want to highlight a couple of great stories. I do want to go on a bit of a down note here, and again, it's just the craziness of our world. Woke up this morning. Now I do have television for news, but I was on my phone, and sure enough, here comes the story of a shooter in California, not too far from where I walked through. I guess he walked into a restaurant bar and just opened fire and threw some grenades or bombs or smoke bomb, something in there. But apparently, 13 people that left for the night to go out and have fun. They'll get away from, their life hurt home for a little bit. And I think the number was 13 dead and a bunch more injured. And it's just, for me, I call it one of those WTF moments. What? How does this stuff happen, man? What is going on in people's minds that becomes the go-to? Whether it's as their last resort, or maybe they're that whacked out that it's a first resort. This is the stuff I'd love to find out and get to know about. So, certainly heartfelt condolences to those folks and families. And it's just, ask yourself, how does this come to happen? And again, what would you do? Not that if you were in that situation, but what would you do if a loved one, had no intention of doing anything to themselves, but didn't make it home that night? When your husband or your wife leaves for work today, or you kiss your kids goodbye, or even when you see your friend that you love but only see once every 3 months, cherish that time. Make sure you value that goodbye, because who knows if it's the last one. It's just a really crazy world we live in. And I won't get into the why it is, whether it's got a religious overtone or undertone or not, or whether it's fate in society, and I don't know. Like I said, we didn't have these things 50 years ago. We had less of them 30 years ago, but it just seems to be getting worse and worse and crazier and crazier. I mean, if this is what's happening now, I'm 51 years old, what's going to be happening 25 years from now when my kids are having their kids? How do they discuss this with them? So, my heartfelt condolences to those folks, and I hope the PTT family will take a moment to pause, say their prayers for those people, but also take a time to pray and appreciate, who they have in their lives, and remember that we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I apologize for going on a down note, but I felt I had to acknowledge that occurred in our country. So again, just to reiterate, guys, I'm literally going to shut this phone off in less than 45 seconds. Head on out to meet with the printers about a bunch of things. Also, tomorrow is a big day for me. I have a job interview which will help me get caught up and hopefully get some of the folks that I've been keeping at arm's distance back on track. And then lastly, just like I met Jeff yesterday, there's a gentleman, I believe in his family, I'm not sure, but his name's Stuart Gray, and he became a big follower of mine through some people I met prior to leaving for the journey. And he's coming into town. So I'm going to be able to, again, experience and meet folks that I never would have experienced and met before. And that's exciting to me. I know that might not be to everybody, but that's the kind of thing that gets me motivated, gets me, kind of gives me a real high. So I'd like to share that with you. Love you all. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.